record. Sorry, saya terlupa record tadi. Yang last week punya lecture pun I haven't shared with you, but I do have the video if you want to repeat. But last week tak ada apa-apa sangat. I think next week, the next week is more crucial lah, the lecture, because you have a lot of calculation for next week. For this week, ada calculation sikit-sikit kejap lagi, but tak susah sangat, and you had already learned it before, I think. Okay, after conditioning circuit, we have, what is it after conditioning circuit? We have
amplifier.
Yes, amplifier. So amplifier are required in the system when the voltage output from the transducer signal conditioner combination is small. So amplifier, what is apa kegunaan amplifier? So when the instrument tu dia measure a very small small signal, yang you measure tu selalu kecil, you need to have amplifier untuk besarkan signal. It works similar like your microphone. Okay, so kalau you punya microphone suara terlalu perlahan, you can amplify kan? Samalah dalam microphone kita ada amplifier, sebab tu suara you boleh jadi kuat. You cakap perlahan je tapi satu dewan boleh dengar. So because it has amplifier inside the microphone. So similar like in your electronic instrumentation system, when you measure things, if the measurement is too small, for example 0.00 something very small, so you can amplify that measurement, so that barulah you boleh detect. Okay, so amplifier with gain. So dalam amplifier it has some gains. So you can have gains between 10 to 1000 to increase the signal level from 1 to 10 volt, for example. So usually electronic instrumentation system, the signal will be in voltage. Okay. Okay. All right. Next. Next is the recorder. So once you have amplified the signal, recorders will be used to record the measurement. Okay, so recorders are voltage measuring device used to display the measurement in a form that can be read and interpreted. So macam your handphone ni sama juga, your handphone you boleh tengok kan all the measurements, all the text kan. So sama recorders, dia akan record data dan dia akan display the data. Okay, recorder. After you record the data, then you will have the data processor. Tak nampak ni. Yes, data processor. Data processor are used with instrument system that incorporate analog to digital converter. So basic electronic last semester, did you learn analog to digital converter yet? Tak Okay, for this class, I will cover a little bit about analog to digital converter and provide the output signal presenting the measurement in the digital code. So usually after you measure, then we will convert it into, you measure analog signal, then we will convert it into a digital signal. Okay, lepas you dah convert dalam digital signal, then you can do engineering analysis. So engineering analysis is conducted to evaluate new or modified design of a machine component, structure, electronic system or vehicle to ensure efficient and reliable performance when the prototype is placed in operation. Okay. Ada soalan setakat ni? Anybody want to ask question? Ada soalan tak? Amir apa ni? Ada ramai Amir.
Boleh.
Ada berapa orang Amir dalam kelas?
Satu lah tu.
Satu je. Ni Mustaqim, Luqman, Amir ada juga. Amir juga. Nampak tangan je. Okey.
Satu bilik tu.
Oh, sebelah. Okey. So now that basically this is basically the components of electronic instrumentation system. So kalau saya tanya dalam quiz ke, what are the components of an electronic instrumentation system? You should be able to draw this block diagram. Mula-mula power supply, lepas tu transducer, conditioning circuit, amplifier, recorder, data processor and engineering analysis. Okay? Okay, quantities of measurement. So bila kita measure, Macam tadi kita dah tahu dah, kita akan engineers usually measure mechanical quantity and thermal quantity. And for biological and agricultural engineers, we measure a lot of biological parameters, right? Plant parameters, soil parameters, environmental parameters. So what are the performance characteristic of the measurement? So kita kena tahu, bila kita measure, how do we know that our measurement is good quality? Macam mana kita tahu measurement kita adalah betul? Okay, so there are two characteristic of performance characteristic. Yang pertama adalah static characteristic, the other one is dynamic characteristic. Okay, so then this performance characteristic can be quantified using error measurements and statistical analysis. Okay, so let's go. Okay, these are all the terms that you need to be familiar with. Okay, instrumentation, okay, apa ni? Instrument, apa itu instrument, apa itu measurement, accuracy, resolution, precision, expected value, error, sensitivity. So these are all common term that we use when we do measurement. Okay, siapa kat sini boleh bagi tahu what is accuracy? Apa beza accuracy and precision? What is the differences between accuracy and precision? Anybody yang mengantuk ni? Tak ada Okay, tak apa. Lepas ni kita akan ada exercise. After this, we're going to have an exercise and you guys will have to calculate what is the precision and what is the accuracy. Okay, so there are two types of characteristics. Just now I said one is static characteristic. So static characteristic used to define the performance criteria for the measurement of quantities that remain constant. Okay. So maksudnya static characteristic ni selalunya ada pada measurement yang kita buat pada benda yang dia punya measurement tu tak berubah. Contohnya apa? What are the example of unvarying process condition? Contoh kalau saya measure, so if you measure your body weight, okay, body weight is it a static measurement, constant measurement ke atau is a dynamic measurement?
Dynamic, doktor.
Dynamic.
Apa rasa dia dynamic?
Sebab kadang dia ringan, kadang dia berat.
Okay, that is not really true. Okay, so you supposed to expect that your weight will be the same kan? Macam katalah you measure at the same time ya, pada hari yang sama, you measure your berat badan. Berapa berat badan you? 50 kg. So 50 kg you measure pada pukul 9, takkan you expect dia akan jadi 60 kg pada pukul 9 1 minit. It's supposed to be a constant, okay? It's a constant value that you measuring tu. Sama juga dengan apa lagi yang you measure? Berat, ketinggian also, okay? Your height. Of course dia changes throughout the years bila you membesar daripada umur 2 tahun hingga umur 20 tahun. But that is very slow punya changes. Okay, so your height should be a constant measurement ya. Your height, your weight is a constant measurement. Okay, then constant measurement ni usually we can measure the error. Kita boleh predict banyak mana kesilapan terhadap measurement yang you buat. Okay, so antara measurement errors yang kita boleh buat adalah kita boleh measure the deviation of a reading from the expected value of the measured variable. Extent of measurement error. Okay, so the measurement error, extent of measurement error must be stated with the measurement. Usually kita kena beritahu berapa extent of measurement of the error. Error in measurement is expressed as absolute error or percentage of error. So error can be calculated. How do we calculate the error of a measurement? So we can calculate an absolute error. Absolute error is yn minus xn, which is the difference between the expected and the measured. Okay. The difference between the expected and the measured. So expected mean the true value lah. Katalah you punya berat badan 50 kg, you expect you punya berat badan 50 kg and then you measure the measured value, you guna scale. When you put yourself on the scale and you got the value of 50.05. So what is the absolute error? 0.5. That is the absolute error of your measurement. And then you can also calculate the percentage of the error, whereby the yn minus xn, you divide it by the yn and multiply by 100. Okay, now I want you guys to calculate. Oh, okay, not yet, later after this. So the statistics error can be divided into 4 categories. One is gross error, systematic errors, random errors, and limiting errors. So you guys will know which, from the slides later, you will know what is gross error. Gross error, generally the fault of the person using the measuring instruments, such as incorrect reading, incorrect recording, incorrect use. So it's gross error usually because of you yourself tak tahu guna barang tu. Okay, so you salah measure, then you will have the error lah. So N is avoidable and must be identified and minimized if not eliminated. So before you use an instrument, you have to know how to use it and how to record the readings. Okay, if not, you will get the gross error. Systematic errors is a probable causes of the systematic error is instrument error, environmental effect, observational error. So probable systematic error ni usually disebabkan oleh instrumen sendiri yang tak berapa elok, environmental effect dan observational error. Sama juga observational errors ni bila you sendiri buat bacaan salah. Then usually systematic errors can be corrected lah. We also have random errors. Generally, an accumulation of large number or small inherent causes shall be statistically analyzed and reduced. Random error is error yang appear in your measurements randomly. You tak boleh tahu kenapa dia berlaku, tapi it happens randomly. Okay, but statistically kita boleh predict and kita boleh reduce. We also have limiting errors, where manufacturing limitation to the accuracy of the instrument. Okay, so it depends on the technology that you use. If your manufacture is poor, then the limiting errors will be higher. Okay. Okay, now can you everyone calculate, do this exercise, calculate the limiting error for this instrument? Boleh tak lepas ni nanti saya akan minta salah seorang untuk explain how do you calculate the limiting error at 120 volt. Okay, this is an example of how you calculate the limiting error at 120 volt. Okay, later I want you to calculate what is the limiting error when the instrument is used to measure 240 volt source. Sorry. Okay, boleh tak? In 5 minutes, write down the answer for limiting error when the instrument to measure a 240 volt source. Okay, buat sekarang. What is the limiting error for 240 volt? Siapa dulu dapat jawapan? Anybody?
2.5% lah.
Siapa bagi jawapan tu?
25.
Lutfi.
Lutfi.
Alright. Okay, siapa tak dapat 2.5? So calculation dia adalah 6 divided by 240 kan? Kali 100.
100.
So equal to 2.5%. So katalah saya buat kalau the measurement, the voltage that we measure is katalah 60 volt. If the voltage that we measure is 60 volt, will the limiting error increase or reduce?
Increase.
Increase.
Yeah.
Increase.
Okay, so kat sini you should understand that if the voltmeter tu dia punya scale dia 300 volt, tapi you measure the source that you measure tu just tak use the full capability of the voltmeter. Dia tak pakai 300 volt pun, dia pakai hanya 60 volt saja. So limiting error dia akan tinggi tau. Okay. So kalau you use the source of the instrument higher, close to the voltmeter punya scale kan 300, macam tadi kita buat 240 volt, the limiting error dia semakin rendah. So sebaiknya in instrument you use the source of the voltage tu, kalau boleh you use hampir sama dengan voltmeter tu punya source, dia punya full scale. Okay, barulah you akan use the full capability of the instrument supaya dia punya error, limiting error dia semakin rendah. Okay. Okay, accuracy versus precision. Just now I already asked you what is the difference between accuracy and precision. Okay, so accuracy is the degree of exactness of a measurement compared to the expected value. Okay, while precision is a measure of consistency or repeatability of the measurement. Siapa boleh bagi contoh? Macam mana you want to compare between accuracy and precision? What is the difference? Siapa boleh bagi contoh your understanding about accuracy and precision? Anybody? Siapa-siapa boleh? Anyone to answer?
Nampak.
Okay, apa tu accuracy? Macam mana contohnya?
Dia
Okay. Ami.
orang. Contoh dia macam kalau kita main game tembak-tembak tu, yang kalau dia dia punya skill yang target tu.
Yes.
Kalau accuracy tu memang kebanyakan yang kita tembak tu kena dekat tengah-tengah dia. Macam orang panggil apa? Bullseye kan?
Yeah, okay.
Tengah-tengah tu. Kalau precision pula mungkin dia tak tepat, tapi dia punya kebanyakan dia punya shot tu dia tak dekat.
Alright. So faham tak kawan-kawan yang lain? Betul tak Amir punya explanation?
Betul.
Betul.
So sama juga dengan kalau you measure your weight lah. If you measure your weight yang sebenar, katalah you dah tahu dah, you pergi hospital, the doctor has measure your weight using a very accurate scale. Your weight is 45 kg. And then you come home, you measure your weight again using a different scale, and it give you slightly different value kan. Katalah dia bagi 45.80. So there is an error there, that is how accurate the scale yang you guna kat rumah lah. Okay. And then if you repeat the scale again and again, if you get the same answer, the same measurements repeatedly, that means it's precise. Tapi if you measure again and the scale give you value yang berubah-ubah. Mula you measure sekali, value dia 45. Lepas tu you measure sekali lagi, value dia 45.5. Lepas tu you measure lagi 44 pula. So that means it's not precise. Okay. So precise and accuracy, precision and accuracy, you have to know the differences. Nanti banyak ni soalan-soalan macam ni lah in the quiz ke Okay, now let's try to calculate this. The expected value of the voltage across a resistor is 5 volt. However, measurement yields a value of 4.9 volt. Okay, so expected value dia 5 volt, kita tahu. Kita tahu sepatutnya theoretically bila kita kira guna teori resistor tu the voltage across the resistor is 5 volt. However, bila kita measure guna kita punya instrument, kita dapat 4.9 volt sahaja. So, please calculate the absolute error, percentage of error, relative accuracy and percentage of accuracy. Boleh ke? Macam mana kita calculate? Okay, let's do it together. How do we calculate absolute error?
Expected minus measured.
Minus going.
In this case,
Expected minus.
so in this case,
Minus measured.
what is the value in this case? How do you get this answer? 0.1 ni.
5.0
5
minus
tolak
4.9
Minus 4.9.
volt.
Alright. Okay, so this one 5 minus 4.9. Okay, percentage of error pula 2%. How do you get 2%? So 0.1 over 5 kan?
5.5.
5 darab 100.
Darab
Ya,
dengan 100.
100.
Right.
Kita coba
Okay, relative accuracy. Macam mana you dapat relative accuracy?
Satu tolak
1 tolak. Okay, let's check back the equation ya. Relative accuracy.
Satu.
Relative accuracy. Ni sini. Ni kan? 1 minus yang ni. Okay? So 1 minus 0.2 lah in your question tadi tu. Sorry. Okay, 1 minus 0.2 sepatutnya. You dapat 0.98. Okay. Okay, percentage of accuracy. Yang relative accuracy ni you kali dengan 100 kan? So you dapat
100.
Okay, so that you should be familiarized. I mean, you doesn't have to remember sangat. Tapi you kena faham macam mana dia being calculated. Okay. Okay, next, measurement uncertainty. Okay, yang tadi tu, yang kita kira-kira semuanya adalah measurement yang absolute measurement. So when absolute after constant punya measurement, you can easily measure the error. But then there is also uncertainty in measurement, okay? So what is uncertainty? Measurement uncertainty is a probability that a reading falls within the interval that contain two values, okay? Okay. Confidence level for margin of errors statistically determined and reflect instrument imprecision. Okay. So sometimes when we don't know what is the expected value, kan? Contohnya you nak measure apa ya? Apa yang you nak measure ya? Azad, what do you want to measure?
Berat.
Berat, okay. Berat apa? Berat yang you tak
Berat.
yang you tak biasa sangat. Apa dia berat yang you macam tak have no clue what is the weight? Berat you dah macam ada, you dah macam selalu measure kan, you tahu kan. So berat apa yang kita macam jarang kita timbang, apa yang you tak expect dia punya value dia?
Jantung.
Okay, berat jantung. Wow, Alia, okay. So katalah you nak measure berat jantung and you have no idea what is the weight of the jantung kan. You tak pernah measure jantung ni. Jantung apa ya? Jantung gajah lah katakan. Jantung gajah tak ada orang pun pernah measure dia punya berat. So you tak tahu apakah expected value dia. Faham tak? Kan? So bila you tak tahu expected value dia, apa yang you buat? You akan measure jantung gajah tu beberapa kali. Okay, you ambil scale and then you put the jantung gajah on the scale, you akan measure banyak-banyak kali. Katalah you measure 100 kali. Okay, then you will expect the measurement tu setiap 100 kali bacaan dia mesti tak sama lah. Tak setiap kali akan dapat jawapan yang sama. You katalah you first time you measure jantung gajah tu, you measure you dapat 10 kg. The next one you measure you dapat 10.5 kg. The next one lagi you measure you dapat 11 kg. The next one you dapat 10 kg balik. Betul tak? Nampak tak kat situ? Dia mesti ada macam slightly different kan measurements tu. Okay? So dekat situ when you have that variations of measurement, you can actually measure the probability. Okay? So you akan dapat measure probability the readings fall within an interval. Okay? So after you measure 100 kali berat jantung gajah, you akan dapat range measurement you antara 10 kg hingga katalah 12 kg. So that is the range of dia 10 kg hingga 12 kg. Because the range tu yang you measure tadi 100 kali, yang paling kecil 10 kg, the minimum is 10 kg and the maximum is 12 kg. So the probability that the measurement fall into that range, we call it uncertainty. Faham tak? Faham ya? Kalau next time if I give you a set of measurements, you should be able to know on how you are going to calculate the confidence level. Okay, macam mana you nak measure the uncertainty tu. Okay. So the uncertainty can be measured using, biasanya uncertainty kita measure guna apa? Anybody? Okay, mean kita bukan untuk kita, mean diperlukan untuk measure uncertainty, okay? Tapi uncertainty dia punya value yang kita gunakan adalah standard deviation ataupun deviation. Okay, standard deviation atau deviation ni adalah yang menerangkan how uncertain a measurement is. Okay? Faham So this is how you calculate the mean. So mean semua orang tahu kan, ambil average je. Total and divided by the total number. That is average. So average ni diperlukan untuk kita measure uncertainty. Sebab apa? Contoh macam tadi kita measure jantung gajah, berat jantung gajah, tak pernah lagi orang measure berat jantung gajah. So kita tak ada expected value. Kita tak tahu apa value dia. Okay? Jadi bila kita tak tahu apa value dia, kita kena measure dia punya mean. Okay? Katalah gajah tadi, jantung gajah kita dah measure 100 kali, kita ambil mean dia. 100 kali bacaan tu kita ambil mean dia. Katalah setelah saya ambil average 100 bacaan tu, saya dapat 11 kg. The berat jantung gajah 11 kg. So 11 kg is the mean and also the expected value. It is the expected value. Bila kita tak tahu apa dia punya expected value tentang sesuatu measurement tu, kita ambil dia punya mean sebagai expected value. Faham So mean is your expected value when you don't know what is actually the true value. Okay? So mean is the expected value when you don't know what is the true value. Faham Azad Haziq, faham Haziq?
Faham.
Okay. Alright, so when you know the mean, there's a lot of other calculation you can do. You can measure the deviation lah, the standard deviation. Okay. So what is deviation? The difference between each piece of data and arithmetic mean. So daripada kita dah dapat mean, jantung gajah tadi kita dah dapat mean dia 100 kg. So setiap bacaan tu kita boleh kira deviation dia, betul tak? So bacaan pertama kita tolak dengan mean, kita dapat deviation yang pertama. Okay, bacaan kedua kita tolak dengan mean, kita dapat deviation yang kedua. Okay, so all this deviation if you sum up D1 plus D2 plus DDN, it should total up to 0. Okay? It should total up to 0. Kalau tak percaya, you boleh buatlah. Nanti kita cuba buat ada satu set of data. You cuba measure dia punya mean. Lepas tu you cari dia punya sum of deviation. Dia mesti 0 punya. Okay? Okay, so average deviation. What is average deviation? So you know the deviation untuk setiap satu measurement tadi, you dah tahu deviation dia. So kita boleh cari apakah average deviation. So average deviation yang tadi kita absolutekan the deviation tu, Contohnya mean of the jantung gajah is 100 kg, is 11 kg. So bacaan pertama adalah 10 kg. So 10 tolak 11 adalah 1 kg. Okay. So take that 1 sebagai absolute number dan you total up divided by the total n. You akan dapat average deviation. So what does the average deviation say? If you have high average deviation, it means it is low precision. Bila you have a low deviation, it means it is high precision. Logik tak? Sebab tadi based on Amin cakap, precision ni bila bacaan tu dekat-dekat kan. Bila you baling, you main apa tadi? Game tembak-tembak, you tembak-tembak semua tembakan tu dekat-dekat je to each other. So that means it's precise. Bila dia dekat-dekat to each other, meaning the deviation is low. Deviation dia antara satu sama lain tu sangat kecil. That's why dia high precision. Tapi kalau deviation antara satu sama lain ada besar, that means it is low precision. So this is the mathematical calculation how do you calculate the deviation and the average deviation. Kejap lagi kita akan buat exercise on how you calculate lah. So after you have known the average deviation, you can also calculate the degree to which the value vary about the average value, which is the standard deviation. Okay, standard deviation ada dua formula. Satu, bila you punya data kurang daripada 30, you guna formula yang ni. Okay, so deviation square, sum up and then minus divided by n minus 1. But when you have sample more than 30, you akan guna equation yang ni, tak payah n minus 1. So dalam case tadi kita measure jantung gajah 100 kali bacaan, which equation do we use? Equation pertama ke equation kedua?
Dua.
Kita punya n lebih besar daripada 30. Okay, let's try to do this. Example, nampak kan soalan ni? So you try buat soalan ni. The following data are computed. This is the arithmetic mean and then the deviation of each value adalah yang ni. The algebraic sum of the deviation, mana soalan dia? Okay, ni adalah data dia. Nampak tak data dia? X1 ada 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 data, ada 4 je data dia. 50.1, 49.7, 49.6 dan 50.2. Ada 4 data. So you should be able to calculate the arithmetic mean, deviation, algebraic sum, average deviation and standard deviation. Boleh tak buat sekejap? I give you 2 minutes to do it. Make sure everybody know how to calculate this and familiarize with how do you calculate the deviation. Boleh? Amir and the gang, ramai tu.
Boleh.
Semua kita pergi dekat satu komputer je.
Internet problem ada.
Okay. Apa problemnya tu?
Dia terkeluar dengan sendiri.
Okay. So kita ada data, 4 data di sini, 50.1, 49.7, 49.6, 50.2. Try to calculate the mean, the deviation, the sum of deviation, average deviation and standard deviation. So when you calculate, you should dapat jawapan yang saya tulis. Yang kurungan ni adalah jawapan dia lah. Okay, this is all the answer. Sepatutnya you dapat jawapan tu. Kalau you tak dapat jawapan tu, meaning you still tak betul lagi calculation yang you buat tu. Okay, give you 2 minutes to do it before we proceed to the next slide. Boleh tak semua orang dapat tak jawapan yang sama? Ada yang ada masalah tak? Okey kan? Boleh kira kan? Okay, hopefully semua orang boleh kira lah ya, tak ada masalah sepatutnya to calculate that. We proceed to the next slide. Characteristic of measurement system. Tadi we have one characteristic which is the static characteristic. Okay, so static characteristic tadi kita boleh kira dia punya standard deviation, error dan sebagainya. Okay, we also have dynamic characteristic. What does it mean by dynamic characteristic? Okay, dynamic characteristic is concerned with the relationship between the system input and output when the measured quantity is varying rapidly. Okay, yang ni bila you punya bacaan tu, your input and output of the system is varying. Dia berubah-ubah Okay, sebagai contoh, okay, dynamic behavior. So sebagai contoh, dynamic behavior ni kita boleh represent dia dalam bentuk graph. Okay. Okay, graph tu kita boleh lukis usually in the form of step change. Step change macam mana? Kalau kita lukis graph, step change tu dia macam ni. Ni katalah graph dia X and Y. Okay, so step change ni dia berubah-ubah mengikut macam tangga. Okay, perubahan pada bacaan tu dia berubah-ubah bertangga-tangga macam ni. So this is what we call step change. Okay. Ada juga linear change. Okay, linear change macam mana? Dia punya graph dia. Perubahan pada sesuatu bacaan tu, kalau dia berubah secara linear, how does it look like? Macam mana? Macam ni kan? Straight lah ke atas.
Dia straight kan. Naik lah.
Straight ke atas Susah betul nak lukis ni. Okay. Okay, we also have sinusoidal change. Sinusoidal macam mana? Siapa tahu sinusoidal macam mana? Sinusoidal dia bentuk
Side kan.
macam tu lah sinusoidal. Tak cantik sangat lukisan saya tapi dia patutnya turun naik macam S lah. Okay, so ini adalah contoh-contoh perubahan pada bacaan. Usually macam bacaan yang macam mana yang berubah-ubah macam ni? Usually when you measure the temperature throughout the day, usually bila kita bacaan kita bergantung kepada masa, contohnya daripada pagi sehingga malam. Okay, daripada pagi hingga malam kita measure temperature. So the changes of temperature tu usually berubah mengikut masa. So masa usually kita tulis kat sini T. Bila sesuatu bacaan berubah mengikut masa, dia dinamakan dynamic characteristic. Okay? Alright, yang tu clear ya? Saya clearkan. Clear all drawings. Okay, so dynamic characteristic ni pun dia ada a few terminology and characteristic that you need to understand, but I will not focusing on it so much, but I will tell you here, you have speed of response, fidelity, lag and dynamic error. Okay, you can always refer back to here lah for further details. This is an example of where you can calculate the behavior of the measurements. Okay, for example, in this case you have x0, the output quantity, and xi is the input quantity, and t is time, masa lah. So bila bacaan kita bergantung pada masa, usually usually bacaan tu akan berubah-ubah secara dinamik. Okay, so contoh yang ni, output quantity bergantung kepada input quantity apabila dia melalui masa. Okay. Sorry. So it's when it comes to dynamic characteristic measurements, the representation in the form of mathematics tu is more complex lah. Okay. Kalau you familiar with, you all dah ambil mathematics 3 kan? Dah belajar apa tu? Apa nama tu persamaan persamaan ni persamaan apa nama dia ni? Kalau dia kuasa 2 maksudnya dia siapa ingat? You all dah ambil maths? Baru first year you all. Maths semua dah ambil dah? Maths 3.
Oh belum. Math 3 belum.
Oh baru maths 2 lah. Oh maths 2.
Dia ada.
Okay, so a differential equation. So usually dynamic characteristic ni kita letak dalam bentuk differential equation lah. This is an example of differential equation, okay? Okay, another thing about measurement, it is very important for us to know how to calibrate the instrument before we use it, okay? So what is calibration? Calibration is a process of establishing the relation between the indication of a measuring instrument and the value of the measurement standard. Okay. So calibration ni usually dia akan improve accuracy lah. Okay. So that's why before we measure berat jantung gajah tadi tu, we have to calibrate first the instrument. Katalah you gunakan scale yang kamu gunakan tu, kamu kena calibrate dulu scale tu. Okay, macam mana kita nak calibrate scale tu? Siapa tahu? There are a few cara untuk kita calibrate instruments. Okay, salah satu cara adalah kita test dulu scale tadi tu dengan berat yang kita tahu value dia. Okay, contohnya, kamu nak timbang jantung gajah punya berat tadi kan? So, kamu pergi beli dulu beras yang 5 kg. Kan? Beras ada 10 kg ada, 5 kg ada kan yang jual kat kedai tu. So, beras tu 5 kg. Kamu dah tahu dah, beras tu confirm 5 kg. Sebab dia dah tulis dekat paket tu 5 kg. Right? So, you put it on the scale. So, if the scale give you value 5 kg, meaning the scale is accurate lah. Kalau the scale bagi you bacaan 3 kg, maksudnya you punya scale tu off by 2 kg. Dia punya bacaan tak accurate. So you have to fine tune the scale first so that it will give you the right value. Okay. Or another method is that the scale tu before you letak apa-apa barang dekat atas dia, make sure dia kosong lah kan. Kalau tak ada apa-apa barang dekat atas scale, supposedly it's 0 lah. So make sure that the scale give you the value of 0 before you put it anything. So that is one simple example of how you do calibration. Okay, contohlah kalau katalah you nak measure temperature for a thermometer, how do you calibrate a thermometer? Katalah Amir you demam kan? So you ada thermometer kat rumah tapi dah lama tak guna, dah 2 tahun tak guna thermometer tu. So you want to measure your body temperature tapi you tak sure whether the thermometer tu accurate ke tak. So you want to calibrate first. So how do you calibrate the thermometer?
Ukur air panas didih, air yang mendidih.
Okay, satu cara, satu lagi. Ada 2 cara. Air panas kamu kena pergi boil water dulu lah. You kena boilkan water tu sampai betul-betul boiling and then you put it should be 100 degrees lah kan. Okay, another method.
Kalau itu ais lah.
Ambil ais, lagi senang, tak payah boil. You pergi je kat fridge, ambil ais tu dekat dalam freezer, then you put it into the bekas kan. Ais tu letak bekas dan letak sikit air lah. Then you put the thermometer, you should get 0 degrees Celsius. That's how you calibrate the thermometer. So kalau you put the thermometer into the ice tapi tak dapat 0 Celsius, you dapat 5 Celsius. Meaning you tahulah the error range dia dalam 5 Celsius. So bila you put on yourself, kalau demam sepatutnya berapa temperature? Dalam 38 ke atas kan? 38 ke atas. Tiba-tiba because of your thermometer tadi you dah buat calibration 0 degree Celsius punya ice dia dapat 5 Celsius. So bila you put at yourself, the temperature give you 45 degree Celsius. So you tahulah because dia memang off kan? Sebab tadi you dah calibrate dia memang off. So meaning you tahu dia tu adalah salah. Yang terkejut pula kan, tiba-tiba you measure lama, aku 45 Celsius ni badan lah. Demam panas kan. Okay. So that is how you calibrate. It's very important in instrumentation and measurement, you calibrate first the instrument. Okay, I think that is all about the class today. Any questions from all of you? I have 2 activities before we dismiss the class today. Ada soalan tak sebelum kita dismiss? Sebelum kita go to the activity, to the next activity, ada soalan tak? Semua faham Senang je kan? Okay, let's do another Kahoot untuk test your understanding. Stop share. Okay, saya buka Kahoot jap. Sekejap saya buka Kahoot. Okay, let's play again. Sekejap Kita nak share. Okay, boleh nampak number Kahoot. Alright, ada yang keluar. Lagi 2 orang tak dapat masuk. Okay, seorang lagi. Dah semua Okay, ready Ready, 1, 2, 3. What is an instrumentation system? Okay, so okay, majority jawab instrumentation system is a tool to use to monitor a process of operation or a technology of measurement. Dua-dua betul. Tapi ada juga yang jawab tool to create engineering equipment. That is not right. That is not quite tepat lah, tak tepat. Right? Okay, tick all mechanical quantities. Bawah ni, what are the mechanical quantities? Ada lebih daripada satu jawapan dia. Okay. Okay, jawapan yang sebenar adalah frequency and displacement. They are mechanical quantities. Okay, conductivity and heat is not mechanical quantities. They are thermal quantities. Okay. Okay, true or false? Temperature, heat flux, specific heat and thermal conductivity are thermal quantities. True or false? Okay, true Obviously lah Thermal ni pun dah ada perkataan kat situ. Okay, is a thermal quantity is true. Next. Amplifier provides the energy to drive a instrumentation system. True or false? Okay, good. Tapi ada juga 8 yang jawab amplifier provides the energy to drive an instrumentation system. Amplifier tak bagi energy. So what are the things that give energy to the instrumentation system?
Power supply.
Power supply. Amplifier, apa amplifier buat?
Increase voltage.
Increase voltage.
Yes, amplify the signal. Okay. Right. Next. Tick only true statements. Okay, yang ni saya bagi masa lama sikit. Among all these, which one is true? You tick. Okay, ada 30 saat lagi. Take your time. Alright, so yang betul adalah the degree of exactness of measurement is called accuracy. A value is precise when it is repeatable. That is true. What is not true is uncertainty cannot be determined statistically. Okay, it's not true. Uncertainty boleh, uncertainty can be determined statistically. A measure of consistency or repeatability is called what? A measure of consistency
Precision.
is called precision, not accuracy.
Precision.
Okay. Alright, next. Please. An analog device that converts a change in mechanical quantity into a change of electrical quantity is called apa? Okay, lama lagi. Okay, so jawapan yang betul adalah transducers ataupun sensors. Okay, signal conditioner and amplifier dia tak change the mechanical quantity into change of electrical quantity. Okay, signal conditioner and amplifier dia hanya modify electrical quantity je. So basically you dah convert mechanical quantity to electrical, barulah signal conditioner and amplifier akan modify the signal. Tapi yang convert daripada mechanical ke electrical adalah transducer, jawapan yang sebenar transducer. But sensor is also correct lah, because sensor the function is the same as transducer. Okay, so that's all the quiz for today. But I have one more game for all of you. And if you be able to buat game ni, kan? Nanti saya bagi extra mark. Mana? Sekejap. It's supposed inside here. I already post it in the Putra Blast. Okay. Siapa baca berita recently about the Suez Canal Evergreen ship? Siapa tahu?
Tahu sikit.
Tahu sikit.
Tahu kan? Apa dia?
Tahu sikit.
Okay, what happened?
Tersekat, tersekat.
Dia halang.
Suez.
Okay, tersekat kan? Sebab the ship is so big. In fact, it is the biggest ship in the world kan. So dia tersangkut dekat Suez Canal. So there is an interactive game here. Saya share dekat dalam chat box tu. Everybody boleh klik. And then you can play the game. Siapa yang boleh dapat maneuver the Suez Canal tu, the Evergreen ship towards the Suez Canal tu, dia dapat extra marks. Okay? Kita bagi, tak boleh lah lama-lama kan. Kita bagi 10 minit Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Okay, let's start now until 4:45. Okay? Cuba main.
Yang mana dah dapat nama tu?
Okay, dia ada dekat tepi ni, ada kat tepi tu ada dia punya sheet controls. You boleh control dari segi speed dan juga dari segi arah. Okay. So if you using your keyboard, you can use your keyboard for the up and down, left or right. And then untuk power tu, you adjust the button ni, kiri dan kanan. Okay. Dapat tak? Siapa yang dapat, please print screen you punya apa tu? Dia punya screen yang kata you success. Lepas tu nanti upload dekat dalam Putra Blast. Collision. No.
Betul collision right?
You boleh try banyak kali sampai pukul 3.45 lah.
Dan doktor dan.
Dan siapa yang dan tu? Hebatnya.
Amen.
Siapa dan print screen and upload dalam Putra Blast
Roger biar. Ya.
Berapa orang yang dah dapat?
Ya.
Doktor, dia tulis sana congratulation ke?
Ya, kalau dah dapat congratulation tu, print screen yang tu. Kalau collision tak diterima
Sudah.
Okay, upload dalam Putra Blast.
Congratulations. You have apa ni? You have simulate navigating roughly 4% of the Swiss Canal.
Yes. Print screen and upload
Namkah?
Putra Blast.
Doktor, Putra Blast saya tiada subjek doktor.
Putra Blast kamu tak ada?
Ya, saya baru dapat sign daripada BA.
Tak apa. Later, you can upload later. Okay? Alamak. Okay, berapa orang yang dah dapat ya? Okay, dah dapat ke semua orang? Saya memang feel lah. Okay, so siapa yang dapat, please upload it into the Putra Blast and I will consider an extra mark for you. So basically what is the lesson from the ni Suez Canal punya incident ni? Apa kaitan dia dengan kita punya kelas ni?
Mesti sabar.
Menguji kesabaran.
Sabaran, okay. Apa lagi?
Fokus dalam buat kerja.
Okay, that is about the how do you main game tu lah kan? Okay, apa lagi skill yang you perlukan untuk maneuver the ship? So basically you have to have a measurement, betul tak? Sebenarnya lah. But in your case, bila you main guna handphone dan laptop, you just measure based on you punya visual kan? And then you just try adjust using your finger lah. Left and right, and also based on the wind speed. You tengok the wind speed is, the amount of wind speed is increasing bila you pass through the canal kan? So when the wind speed is higher, then how do you maneuver the ship left and right, and also the speed of the ship moving forward. So those are all require actually measurements. You have to measure all the parameters and values affecting your process, betul tak? So it's very important for you to do measurements so that we can control the process. So that's basically what I'm trying to relate with the incident of Suez Canal dalam kita punya kelas ni lah. And I agree with all of you, is require a lot of patience. Saya bukan gamer, so saya memang asyik collision je saya punya ship. So Amir dapat very easy dengan siapa tadi dapat cepat tu?
Stella.
Stella pun senang kuat main game ni. Sebab tu cepat je dapat tu.
Tidak main game saya.
Yeah, okay. So congratulations to those who managed to go through the Suez Canal. For siapa yang tak berjaya lagi, cuba lagi sehingga berjaya. I will consider if you upload it into the Putra Blast, siapa-siapa je upload, kita boleh consider as an extra mark for you to join the class activity. Okay, so I think that will be the end of the class today. Thank you very much for your all attentions, and we'll meet you again next week. Kalau tak ada soalan ke sebelum kita dismiss? Going once, going twice. Okay, so there's no question. So thank you so much everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.